I was just listening to the previous Gen E 2022 podcasts. Amazing stories. Interesting podcast that we did on the metaverse, on technology, on finance. And today, today, are you ready to enter into the workforce? Oh, yes. This is the Journey 2022 in partnership with the Manpower Group and JA Europe. And I'm so glad to have here with me Riccardo Barberis, a fellow Italian, the president of Northern Europe at Manpower Group. Hello, Riccardo.
Hello, Salvatore. Hello, everyone.
So, from Italy to the winners of Gen E 2021 Manpower Group Ready for Work Award, the team Sheer Joy from Sweden. Hello, Isaac. Hello, Axel.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So glad to have you. So, from the south to the north, back on the south of Europe, where we have Miriam Cresta, the CEO of JA Italy, that this year is celebrating how many years, JA Italy?
20 years.
20 years anniversary this year. So, great celebration. So, today, what are we going to discuss today? Well, JA has been supporting, inspiring, preparing young people to succeed for over 100 years, since 1919. We are leader when it comes to the education. But education for what? Yes, definitely to start up your company, but also to have that entrepreneurial mindset that will help you to succeed if you become definitely a productive employee. And this is why we will discuss today about the workforce needs and what is needed for the next generation of Europeans to be work ready. So my first questions, let's go to those one who know what we're really talking about. Manpower Group, leader on this. So Riccardo, how has the job market changed in the past 2 years?
Yeah, thanks, Salvatore, for this question because it's a very important one, especially now in this post-COVID environment. What we see very clearly is a very strong acceleration of trends that were already present before the pandemic. For instance, how much the technology is changing the labor market. And we talk about this in Davos as well, talking about the big shift that labor markets are having now. Probably is the biggest shift of skills and workforce competencies that we have seen since the Second World War. Is really about technology impacting in the transversal way in all the industries. And this is why investment in digitization, investment in automation, investment in new technology for operational efficiency or customer experience, or even business modeling, are completely requiring different type of skills. And this is where the labor market has to be looked for the future with the speed that will come much more than we have seen so far, with two consequences. The first one is long life learning, because even a data analyst today, that is one of the most relevant job that the companies are looking for, with the development of the machine learning, maybe in 5 years' time, those competencies will be obsolete. And so sometimes we think that obsolescence of the competence is only for specific type of technical skill or manufacturing skill. No. Every single vertical, accordingly with the speed of technology, requires need of lifelong learning. And the second element that characterizes the labor market today even more and for the future is really about the bifurcation of these needs. Skills, people that have those skills in demand, they are brighter future, very well paid, they have clarity of career path. But what do we do to help other people in this bifurcation world? Because there was a Nobel Prize some years ago that said that inequality is a race between technology and education. So the second consequence is, what do we do to create that technology can become really an element of inclusion rather than a digital divide. Those are the two trends that we see mostly that young people have to be aware of.
Thank you, Ricardo. What a big shift. Huh? What a big shift we have been experiencing over the past 2 years, and what is expecting us. So you say people are studying for careers, for jobs that do not exist, that will not exist in the future. People know a lot, but they have a problem in applying what they know. And today you can Google it or Bing it, and you can find answer. But the issue is not necessarily what you know, is how do you apply what you know? And let me go to those young people. First of all, congratulations again for winning last year ManpowerGroup Ready for Work award to share joy. Axel and Isaac, tell us in 30 seconds, first of all, what sheer joy is, because some people, very few people across the globe have still not heard about you, but I'm sure they will after today. And then tell me, do you think you're ready to enter into the workforce? Why not?
So, for everyone who doesn't know, ShareJoy was our junior achievement company. And the business idea that we had was working with sheep's wool, because we managed to identify that there's a huge waste of sheep's wool in all of Europe and in Sweden in particular. And about 150,000 tons are thrown away each year. And we had no prior experience working with wool when we started, but we wanted to see if we could change the waste situation. So we did everything from fertilizer for your garden to home decoration products. We did everything we could. So that was ShareJoy. And regarding the question if we're ready for work, I sure hope so, since we won the Ready for Work award. But with the skills that JA gave us, I think we're better prepared than ever to enter the workforce.
Amazing to hear, and I still remember the celebration. I remember I was in Vilnius, Lithuania last year when we announced you as winner of the Ready for Work award. And this year we are going not so far from there. We're going to Estonia. So book in your calendar 12th to 14th of July 2022, Gen E 2022. So 20 years of success of JA Italy. But Miriam, the pandemic has impacted both the world of education and the world of work. What have you seen in the past 2 years in terms of work readiness of the JA youth, as our friends of ShareJoy were telling us?
Absolutely. That's the situation in Italy. As you know, we have a big mismatch between the needs of the job market and the curriculum of the schools. And after pandemic period, this mismatch became more large. So JA as intermediate organization is working to work better with school that are not enough oriented with students to improve technical and soft skills. Not only with students, but also with youth people in general. So first of all, we need to reduce after the pandemic period the mismatch between the need of the job market and the curriculum of the schools. From the job market, that is one of the main stakeholder of JA, we call our corporate partner as ManpowerGroup Impact Community. So from the job market side, our companies have expectation that JA, Junior Achievement in Italy, becomes the facilitator platform to connect better their HR talent acquisition offices with our network schools, to find qualified graduates in sales, HoReCa, mechatronics sector. So some practical things. But also we need with medium international companies that the youngers have a high level of digital and technical skills. That's the second challenge that we have with our impact community. And also an international entrepreneurial mindset. That's why the many companies, the Gen E competition are absolutely the best platform to reinforce and to improve this kind of skills. From the school sector, what's happening in Italy? Nowadays, the new challenge that we have is the school orientation. And we think that is the asset of the policy of the Ministry of Education and also of the Ministry of University too. We need to start an insect activity as GA Italy of advocacy with our government at a local and central level to address the next policies of schools orientation, because we think that the labor market is changed, but we need also to change the philosophy of the school orientation that we have now into our school. Students, for example, meet the real world only 2 times along their scholastic career. Orientation will become a journey during all the career of a student into the school. That's the new philosophy that Junior Achievement with its impact community is working on with our local government. And this is a central point, an asset point for the next years.
Thank you, Miriam. So we saw how it is struggling normally, the public educational system, although it's trying to make some reforms. And on the private sector, Riccardo, what does it really mean to be work ready? And what are the companies looking what are they looking for in the future of workforce? I mean, when you're hiring people, you're probably the largest employer of the world when it comes at ManpowerGroup. So what are you looking at?
No, very tricky question, because my first answer would be companies first have to be fully aware that this is a structural change. So the traditional way of thinking about hiring, I will hire when I need, for the company perspective, doesn't work anymore. It's really a structural change. Even our talent shortage survey that we do since 11 years, this year is the highest in the row. Is 75% of the employers are saying that they don't find in the labor market the skills that they need to execute their business strategy. So it's a very structural change, and is a very global element, because we don't see it just in one continent or another. It's very common to all the geographies across the world. So first point is awareness that a structural shift requires structural answers, and not just I will hire when I need. The second that we see and we consider relevant is, we call it the 4B: buy, build, borrow, or bridge. Because companies have to do this. They have to hire those people, or you have to invest in their own people. This is why in the last 10 years, we saw that it's tripled the investment on direct employee training, because the build those competencies internally is becoming not only a defensive strategy, but also an offensive strategy, given that you don't have in the market. Or buy or borrow, because you can have in the future many different type of relationship with the workers. Some of them will be longer term contracts, some of them will be just for some tactical project for 1 or 2 years, some other will be self-employed, collaborating with companies, because not only the companies, this is what they want, but also because this is what the workers want. Because if you look at the US market already, the trend of younger people preferring to be self-employed is a very strong one, and probably in Europe will come very soon as one of the biggest trends. So I think that the 4B that I mentioned is already a strategy. The awareness of the situation is already a strategy. The third point, my last one, not less important, is about make sure that one size fits one. Because today in the organization, there are different generation of people that are working with different level of digital skills, with different level of expectation about the type of organizational hierarchies that normally works in a company, with different type of background, cultural, social, with different type of differences. The companies that will be able to offer an environment that reflects the social environment, they will win, because there is no anymore the war of talents. Talents won. So companies have to be.
I like the 3B and the fact that talent wants, because otherwise, if you don't apply those Bs, you are going to be forced to use the S of stealing talent from your competitors, and your competitors are stealing it from you. And this will just inflate salary and provide opportunities only to very few talented people. What we are showing it out there is that talent is universal, but opportunities are not. So creating this pipeline of talent where the sector can really work and can invest into young people, I believe is going to be fundamental. So it's a kind of collaboration or competition also among companies to invest in this huge pool of talent. Talented people like Share Joy. Tell me a little bit more about last year experience with JA and where you stand with Share Joy.
Well, I'll just start by saying that I think ever since we won the national competition in Sweden, it's just been an never-ending array of unforgettable experiences, and one of those, of course, was the Gen E 2021. And we were able to gather in Stockholm at the National JA Sweden office to watch it together. And I think I'll hardly forget the time when we won, because it was such an amazing experience, and everything leading up to it, the hard work of first of translating everything into English, working on the new pitch deck and the pitches, and doing those interviews and really hammering it in, and finally letting everything go, and then receiving this award. It was amazing.
It's an experience. It's an
Yes.
experience becoming part of JA since day one. This is probably, it's the content, is the material, is the way, the methodology for over 100 years has been done, but this experiential learning, how do we call it? And Miriam, we heard about the skills that are needed by the labor market and that they are developed thanks to this entrepreneurship program at school. But young people in Europe are still lagging behind without any concrete possibility to develop these skills at large scale. Yet we serve 4 million young people across Europe, but it's still a drop in the ocean compared to the needs. How could we reach those who do not have such opportunity to learn and develop? Do you have some concrete projects that you run? Do you want to showcase?
Well, as you say, we are a practical organization, first of all, and we are one of the players at the national level that work very close with the school system and especially with teachers. This is one of our assets in Italy. Teachers for us are the entry point to innovate the pedagogical and didactic methodology into the school. But if you want to work with a sort of scalability, teachers is absolutely one of the points, but the second point is digital. Student works with digital. After the pandemic, digital goes also into the Italian school, and we will work absolutely to improve the digital contents that we can offer to Italian schools. That's for us absolutely one of the points. So we are co-design with our impact community, and ManpowerGroup is one of these company. Inspire contents, we call them Maratona dell'Orientamento in Italian. So it's a special session for secondary school where students every day with a sort of distance learning meet people, meet new jobs as for example, cybersecurity, as for example, people that work with food but with new technology, people that work with artificial intelligence, this kind of jobs. So the online masterclass, the Maratona dell'Orientamento is one of these activity, and with this activity we can also work all over Italy, not only in the north of Italy where we have our people, our employees. So that's another important point, because that means that we ensure inclusion of all of the students all over Italy. The second point is also to support job on the training experiences for our students. So we cover BFE for 2 years into the companies after the diploma with a training session, many students in Italy this year. And we also have another initiative that is an online training to activate proactivity in need people, young people, so people that now don't work and don't study. It's a special project that we co-design with ManpowerGroup and with Hempel in Italy to start and now to help and support students, young people to become students again and to start an own business. Also, this second activity is for us a very important activity because the entrepreneurial mindset is the other point that we need to improve in our country. So international experiences, competition, Erasmus exchange into the school, all these kind of experiential activity improve the skills, the soft skills of the student, but also the technical skills.
Plenty of opportunities. We just need to make sure to reach out all these talented young people across Europe that are in need of these opportunities. So a couple of years ago, I asked Riccardo who was going to win the European Championship. He said Italy, right? Then I asked who is going to win the Italian league this year. He said Milan AC, right? Then I asked who's going to win the Liga in Spain and the Champions League, and he said Real Madrid. So, right. So I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult. Let's see if those are more difficult questions to Riccardo, because it looks like he knows about the future. What are the three jobs that I have to tell my 7 years old son that are in need in the future? What are the three jobs out there?
Thanks for remembering that I'm in love with football, because absolutely true, despite of the fact that we were kicked out by the World Cup. But anyway, no, I don't have the crystal ball for the labor
And we have
market.
erased that part. I think I didn't make you that question. That's why I said.
Thank you, thank you. No, I think that there are, of course, first, the technology is already present, and it will be even more in all the sectors. So everything related to the digital skills will be a sort of passport for the labor market. And so all the studies and all the experience with digital skill, that improve digital skill, will be already something that all the companies, because what we see now is already for the big companies, but there are still all the small and medium companies that are the real critical companies in every economy, especially in Southern Europe, that in which there will be an impact of this. Then if I have to mention a few industry, what we see, for instance, in healthcare. Healthcare is one of the segments in which the technology will create a major impact when it comes to type of competencies. Another sector that we don't talk too much, because healthcare is already quite famous, is about agriculture.
It's about agriculture. Well, that's definitely
Create job of combination of competencies of agriculture with mixed with technology. And this, for instance, we have a company that at the moment is asking us to help them to write the job profile of those people that don't exist, of job roles that don't exist today, because are a combination of agricultural competencies mixed with the level of technology that they need to run a huge investment in agriculture with their own tools. And then, of course, I should mention the green area, because he's here to stay. This is not just a greenwashing habit. It's something that every company and the societies are very serious upon now. And so everything that is related to how to make our way of living, our way of working, our way of interacting socially in a more sustainable way will be drastically changing the future of our planet. And so all the skills related to this will be for sure higher in demand.
So it's like digital, the soft skills, and then we go sectors, it's agriculture, but also everything that is sustainable. And this is why probably Share Joy also last year was so put a lot, was on the spotlight at Genie 2021. Let me go back to you and say, what do you think? Is it more about the digital, the metaverse, or are the soft skills that will help you navigating? How well you feel prepared about those skills?
I mean, generally, as has been said here many times, it's all digital from here. It's going to be more and more relevant having those very particular skills to fit into any job market in the future. But I'm also thinking that this entrepreneurial mindset that you talked about in the beginning, that JA is so much about, is going to take a bigger and bigger place in the workplace. And having the skills to both have an intercompany career and start your own projects and very goal-oriented way of working is going to be a bigger and bigger part. And as we've also talked about, I think a lot more people are going to be self-employed and working on project basis. So hopefully the skills that JA has taught us are going to be very useful. And I'm feeling very hopeful about the future with the skills that I've acquired.
And yeah, they can become entrepreneurs, they can be self-employed. But also, I remember one program a few years ago we ran with ManpowerGroup, was called Finding a Job is a Job. All right, there's a job itself. Finding a job is a job. You need to define yourself. You need to put into their CV what are your skills, because people are looking, especially fresh graduates just accessing the job market. How can you highlight some of the things that you learn at school or outside the school? Miriam, how young people can enrich their background to be put it into their CV?
Well, as Riccardo explained, in the future, if we want to work in a complexity world and to have a success, we need to have a hybrid education. And hybrid education means hybrid experience. So the same of the car. I'm a human, but I use this example that is about a car. We need to, for example, create a relationship within science and technology. If you want to become a doctor, we need also to know artificial intelligence in the future. If you want to become a journalist, you need also to learn data. So data analysis is absolutely another point. So that means that also in the CV there is not the normal experience that we have in the past, where we have the diploma, then the university. Probably is not the right solution now. Probably a mixed experience. For example, a year abroad with a different experience, or an experience in a startup incubator, for example, or an experience into the secondary school with a work and school exchange. These kind of experience are the new path to arrive to have the right CV for the future works. I think that that's the solution, and I think that we can work in this way only if we think about a school that became more open and became more agile, where digital absolutely is one of the points and one of the assets of our school.
You need to be agile. Well, while we're talking, 370,000 young people across Europe. Let me repeat that. 370,000 young people across Europe have created their mini company since September last year, have competed at their local, at their school, at their local, at the regional level. Now they are in their national finals because they all come and hope to win the Gen E 2022 and the legendary ManpowerGroup Ready for Work Award. So, Riccardo, what makes so special this award that everybody is so thrilled to win? And what do you expect from this year? Competitors, all of them were getting there, all the candidates.
Nice competition. No, we are really proud as Manpower Group of supporting this Ready for Work award, because at the end it's really about culturally to help in a very concrete way to overcome these trends that we have been talking about during this conversation, because it's really about to show ability, likability, and drive. That means the three sort of prerequisite of the learnability. And so for us, the expectation is to reward someone that can be also an inspiration for the others. Someone that can be seen as, I want to do like this, because this is the best way to remain employable and to be always ready for work in the future. And so there is a strong message through this award. Of course, the prize is 1 year coaching with our expert of the Talent Solution Group. This is what we could put as a concrete prize. But more importantly for us is to spread this message that is about the best skills that you can have is already in your side, is one of your what we call soft skills. As an internal competence is much better to be called. That is about learnability, and to make sure that I want to progress in all my career and not just study, working, retirement, because this model is dead. And we need to build awareness of a new one, especially for the younger generation. So this is why we are so happy to keep on supporting these awards.
So great, and so many tips about how to win the Ready for Work award. And while we were talking, I was just checking, we have already over 200 mini company and startup who built their virtual stand in our virtual expo of January 2022 that will open the doors on the 7th of June, and from the 7th of June to the 14th of July, we have more than a month of learning experience to improve your learnability, and a lot of competitions in which the young people can apply. So giving tips and tips and tips, let's give from sheer joy and advice, because you have gone through it. You already won the award. What advice would you give to the students who are competing this year?
If there's one key advice I would give, it's really knowing yourself. Because if you're not aware of your limitations and your strengths or what you could work on, you can't see a path forward. Everything's a big fog. But as soon as you understand yourself and how you work as a person, you can take those steps to learn and to get the drive. I know what motivates me, and I know what to do in order to achieve the things I want to achieve. So I would say that really understanding and frankly analyzing yourself as well as you can is a key to learnability and going forward.
Know yourself, and you need to make an assessment of where you stand, where do you want to go. And Miriam, if we make an assessment a bit of all the mini companies that have gone through JA, definitely Italy over the past 20 years, but the past 2 years with so many change, what did you see as a change in the mini company in terms of skill, in terms of motivation of the young people?
In terms of motivation, I think that the mainstream is the belief in the team. So in the past, we have 1 or 2 students that are the chief of the team, the media of the mini companies. Now we don't have only 1 or 2 leaders, but we have a team. We have a group of students that work all together. So I think that is one of the value that we have after the pandemic. And the second point is that without a special indication about GI Italy, the 30% of our mini companies works on green jobs, work on sustainability, works on this kind of project where the sustainability of the planet, the green and blue sector, the green jobs are the mainstream. And I think that is absolutely one of the add value of this generation that we can also offer to the entrepreneurial world in Italy, but also all over the world.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Sheer Joy, and thank you, Riccardo Barberis. So here is my tip here. That's my tip. 3, okay? The first one, put a like on the podcast. The second, share the podcast. And the third, pack your stuff and come to Tallinn, because we are preparing the largest entrepreneurship event in Europe, where you will see the finalists of the 370,000 young people who have competed across the school year. So without further ado, I'm going to put my headphones back and listen to this interesting podcast once again to make sure I didn't miss a single word. See you in Tallinn. Bye, everyone.